Hello, this is Mr. Huff. Now we're going to add some exterior walls. These are all going to be 4 foot above the second floor and the upper roof. We're going to start by adding one exterior wall. It's going to have a 1 inch air gap and a 2 inch piece of rigid insulation. That should be 1 inch. And then we are going to define the first floor. Then we're going to split the first floor from the the walls that have 2 floors. And then after we get that to the right position, then we will add the second floor wall that does not touch the first floor. So let's get started. When we're done, it'll look like this. We'll have single story, 2 story, and then a second story only, and everything is 4 foot above the level. The 4 foot rail acts like a rail. So we're going to go to the ground floor and we're going to add a wall. First thing we need to do is make a custom wall. So click on this drop down and scroll to the top, find exterior brick on CMU and CMU on metal stud. We're going to edit the type. Okay, so let's take a look at what's going on here first. If you go to the preview, this is what the modify the wall looks like, but here's the section view, and you can see it's kind of fancy. It's got a cap and a soldier course and then some reveals and a different style of brick at the bottom. So we need to make a couple of changes here. So we're going to start with this basic wall. I'm going to call it EXT wall and the number 1, because we're going to add a 2 and a 3, maybe a 4. So right here, if we go to edit, you can see we have a 3-inch air gap. It's a thermal insulation layer. So what we're going to do is change that air gap to 1 inch. And then I'm going to insert a row and put it in the wrong place. So we're going to move it down. It needs to be after the air gap. We're going to change that to a thermal layer. So choose the drop down here. And then we're going to change the category, search for the word rigid. And we're looking for rigid insulation. Okay, so there's our rigid insulation, select that. So we still have the same gap, but what we've done is added 2 inches of rigid insulation and a 1-inch air gap. So we still have the width didn't change. We just changed what the makeup was, okay? What we're going to choose instead of center line, we're going to make sure we're connecting to exterior finished faces. We have chain set. If you have a rectangular building, just use the 2-point rectangle to use your extreme corners. I don't have a rectangle, so I'm going to use the line tool connecting to the outside edges all the way around the building. So make sure I have that little pink square before I click, and make sure I'm following that outside line that I can see from my foundation. And we're just connecting that to our foundation wall all the way around. And I'm going to make sure that closes, and then I should be good on that. Hit escape a couple of times. Oh, wait, it's not, it's unconnected. Okay, so let's go look at this in the 3D view. So what it did is it made a 20-foot unconnected wall, and that's not what we want. We want to have it connected to the second floor and a 4-foot offset. So I'm going to select all of my walls that I just made. And then we're going to change top constraint to upper floor. No, I mean second floor. And we're going to make that 4-foot. So it's second floor and a 4-foot offset. So this is going to establish a boundary around the building that acts like a rail for your green roof. But now we have a second floor that still needs to have a wall around it. So what we have to do is separate the first floor from the ones that have 2 floors. So to do that, let's go to second floor, and we're going to click on a wall. Oh, wait, set the view to find for these steps because it's easier to do it this way. And so make sure you're in view and find. Choose a wall. And what we want to do is use the split element tool, and somewhere between close to the second story wall, I'm going to split those 2 walls. Okay. Press escape a couple of times, zoom in, click on this little itty bitty wall, grab the little dot and drag it, and that will open a gap. And then we're going to do the same thing over here. This way it's easy to tell which wall we're working with. Now we can take this and we can open that gap up, and now we have our wall. So what we're going to do is look at that gap, and then we can go to second floor and we can see the gap. So What I'm gonna do at this point, I wanna move this to the upper roof, so I'm gonna select all of those. If you watch carefully, you'll notice I miss a wall, but that's okay, we'll get it later. So I'm gonna choose all my walls that I want to go to the upper roof, select those, and make sure we continue with that 4-foot offset, and that's gonna add a rail around the top roof as well, okay? And then we've got it put in place. And now we're going to try to add this wall that goes just on the second floor. So it kind of needs to go between, we're going to get rid of this little thing. It's going to cause problems later. And then we're going to align these two. So I'm going to click on the align tool. All right, here, and I'm going to choose that inside edge and then that part. So always choose what you're moving to and then the part you want to move. So now those are lined up on the inside, so we won't have any disconnect. And that'll be fine. So what we're going to do is we're going to draw a wall not connected to anything, just kind of in the middle here. We're going to clean it up after we get it drawn. Starting from the bottom to the top, that should put the arrows on the outside. Verify that the arrows are on the outside of your wall. So I selected the wall. There it is. So now we're going to zoom in and we're going to use that align tool one more time. So we're going to align and we're going to zoom in. And on this girder right here, I want to zoom into the little tip, this part right here. See how it's blue? Not the long line, just the little tip. Click on that tip. And that's what we're aligning to. And we're going to choose the inside face of that wall. And that's going to scoot the wall right up perfectly onto that column. Okay, that's what we want. And now we have to do some alignment. So uh, let's look at trim and extend. These two will trim and extend. So I'm going to choose this inside wall and then the outside wall. That fixes that, but it won't work here because these are two different levels and that sort of thing. So what we can do is we're going to use the align tool. I'm going to align to this face, and then I'm going to choose this face, and it's going to move those two together. And then let's go take a look at that. And then this is where I figure out, oh, I didn't make that the right height. So I'm going to rotate around. Oh, wait, that's unconnected. So let's do this, fix this. So we're going to click this wall, attach it to the second or the upper roof like we did the other walls. The key to this is make everything match on a level. We're going to add that 4-foot offset again. And now everything's connected there. And then I have this wall over here. So I'm going to shift and center click and orbit around and fix this wall. So boom. And we're going to change that to from second floor to upper roof. It still has a 4-foot offset. And then that's all connected and life is good. So you can see we have different types of walls here. This is what we're going to clean up in the next video. But now I have to fix these gaps. Easy way to do that is just go to the ground floor plan, and we're going to use the align tool one more time. So I'm going to choose the outside face of this wall and the inside face of that and connect those, and the outside face of this wall and the inside face of this. So we're moving the first floor and connecting it to the second floor. Okay, when we go to the 3D view, everything should be aligned properly, and we are ready to add change some details, and then we can add some roofs. All right, and a second floor. Notice how we've got clean miters here. That's enough for now. Thank you for watching. Be sure to save your work.